Good morning and happy Saturday. Thanks for coming to the shop. What we're working on is this. This is basically the groundwork is finished on this new terrain that I'm doing. Bob Harris is a builder and great model maker, and he has asked me to build the terrain, a display for his chuck wagon. Here's a picture of his chuck wagon. This is all hand built, scratch built. Bob built this, aged it, beautiful paint, all the details, just phenomenal. So my job is going to be to build a terrain for him that matches that and enhances it. Doesn't take away, doesn't distract, it's supposed to be something that anchors that beautiful chuck wagon and mule team and rider and everybody. Everything should be enhanced so that you look at it and immediately you know where it's at. This is targeting West Texas. These are pictures from Bob, and it shows the red clay, the underbrush, the cacti, the grasses. These are the things I'm going to concentrate on. So at this stage, it is the end of groundwork. That's what we're going to get to today. So we'll start with just regular foam. That's what it was just a week and a half ago. And I'm going to take you through the whole process up until now. I start by breaking down the 2-inch thick foam. This is pink foam insulation, Foamular, and I'm going to cut this down to 16 inches wide. And then because it is so long, it's 45 inches long, to cut these ends, I had to use my tabletop router. And this is a downward spiral bit. Well, it's actually upward, but because it's flipped upside down, it's going downward. So it does capture the majority of all that stuff. So here is the blank I'm starting with, 16 by 45 inches. I like to back all of my foam projects, all my dioramas, with MDF 1/4-inch board. That's what this is. And so I just basically glue it to the back. I weight it down with just a bunch of weights, and then I can start carving in the morning. So now I just have to figure out where I'm going to carve. I'm starting on the left-hand side here. The road will come down to the middle. It'll kind of drop down a little bit, and then I'll exit out the right-hand side. In the middle here is where I'll have the chuck wagon. I think it's going to show it off really nice. I love these rock formations. I first showed you how to make them in Rock Cut Road, and here's the link for that. But right now I just want to tell you how they're going to be deployed around the road and why they're so significant. There's these two large rock formations. It basically extends through the road, then the road's been cut through it. So you see a little bit surfacing here, but this is one singular vein of rock, formation that the road's been cut through. Here's the secondary formation. It's a second one, and that's gone, but it has got a lot more damage to it, and it kind of continues here. So that's what that is. And then the rest of the rock on here is just basically remnants from that. So all the black rocks on here you see are going to be painted just like these large rock formations. So even though I know where the road is going to go, and these are going to go on the side of the road, I think it's important to have these there as I'm carving, so it gives me kind of a sense of proportion. It gives me a better feel for where the road is going to travel between, these three rocks, which is actually two. So you may have seen this earlier. This is just a little gauge, and when I was trying to figure out how to make this road level and stuff like that, I figured I needed something to index from. So what I did was I made this little gauge, and I used the surface of the foam as the leveling point. Then after I got, it level up to a point, this is the point where I have to do a slope. So here, from kind of the black edge of my dust collection, that's what's on the left-hand side in the upper left-hand corner. That's my dust collection. From that point all the way to this corner where I'm working now, that has to be a gradual slope. Now I'm taking these dividers and I'm setting the center of the road. You know, the center of the road is raised. It's not flat like they are today, you know, when they're graded and stuff like that. This is a non-graded road. So it's a 2-track road. So I'm going to have kind of a hump in the center of it. So this is me laying that out. And then I'm going to start working on carving the 2 tracks, you know, on either side of the road. Using the wire wheel earlier was great. You know, it moved a lot of material out in a short amount of time. But now I'm going to use my teardrop bit on my Fordham. And this is really where I do texturing and true carving. I use this on 100% of my dioramas, but 99% of the time. Only when I find something that's really odd, or like today, I'll switch to a different tool. To finish these tracks, I took some 120 sandpaper around a sanding sponge, and that allowed it to contour to the shape of the individual tracks, and I just made sure that they were smooth enough to have a cart and horses go over it. With the road done, it's time to concentrate on these sides. I'm using a coping saw to see if I can get in here and just get some of the bulk away, and then I'll go right back to my Fordham with the teardrop bit. Now all this carving is meant to take down the outside around the road. You know, this road isn't meant to be in a gully. It's meant to be just at ground level, but I am having a change of slope. You know, there's a change in the terrain. So at where the rocks are, that's the high end, and then here is basically the valley, if you will. And so I need to take these sides all the way down, basically right to the road. Now, I didn't really catch it on video, but if you look at the surface very closely, I've taken my heat gun to it. And what that does is it melts the surface, it kind of solidifies any of the rough area that I've created from, you know, all the shaping and stuff like that. So at this point, I'm adding what will be the surface, the sanded grout. I start with Mod Podge. I coat that on really well, and it's direct. It's not dilute or anything like that. And then I take the sanded grout and then I put that through a strainer, a little wire strainer here, and that goes over the entire surface. I'll let that dry overnight, and then it'll be ready for paint. Okay, I am going to try to mix up some kind of rust color. Any more yellow. A little black. And that is my color. That's what I want. I'm going to put Mod Podge in it. And a lot of water. Okay, so that's it. So that is this week, and I'm really happy with it. I think it was a fun first stage. Now, what I've done is I did paint, everything black, because the next part will be painting these rocks, and all the rocks will look the same. And then I got this. Now, I did show this a couple of times. I have done my first set of cactus, and I really, really like them. And so that's going to be part of the next video. This one goes here, but I need more cactus. So I'm going to build more cactus. I'm going to show you how I paint them. And I'm building some low shrubs, even some very small stuff like you saw in those reference photos. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am having a wonderful time building this, and I can't wait to get some paint on these rocks and get some more details on this ground. The ground shading and coloring that we've done and all this modeled stuff is all gonna help with the look. Have a great day. We'll see ya.